Right then, let's get this show on the road. I'm afraid this sounds incredibly boring. Actually, before I do that, let's get my script up so I can read it. Right, unique selling propositions. Good morning, everybody. I don't normally do dull, boring marketing theory, especially not at 8:30 in the morning. But so you'll be pleased to hear that I intend to keep this pretty light. But today we're looking at this concept, which is crucial to any business that wants to stand out, and that is the unique selling proposition, or USP, as they are known for short. And the term USP, I'll just move that one. The term USP was coined by an American advertising executive whose name was Rosser Reeves in 1960. And the simple idea of a USP is really about what is it that makes your business stand out and what makes it special. So let's explore how understanding and leveraging your USP can help your business to stand out. As I said, in the 1940s, where this came from, brand advertising in the US was finding its feet. Household brands are spending millions of dollars with advertising agencies to sell their goods. And one of those agencies was called Ted Bates and Company. And the chairman of which was this guy here called Rosser Reeves. Now, the other claim to fame of Rosser Reeves is that he is also the main inspiration for the lead character in the TV series Mad Men, which you may not know. You may not have even seen it. In 1960, he published a book called Reality in Advertising. And in there, he summed up basically 20 years of agency experience, and he introduced the concept of the unique selling proposition. And he argued that the most successful adverts that his agency ran communicated a unique benefit that the brand's competitors didn't or couldn't offer. And this USP was what made customers choose one brand over another. So the precise definition of a USP, and this is paraphrased directly from his book, and these were written with mass market products in mind, but they can apply equally well to small businesses. So the first one is you must say to your customer, buy this product or service and you'll get a specific benefit. The specific benefit is very important. Second point is that the proposition must be one that the competition either cannot or does not offer, because it must be unique. And the third one is the proposition must be so strong as to pull new customers to your product or service. The final point there being that your unique feature must be something that's highly valued by the customer. If there's plenty of unique features, but if the customer's not interested in them, that doesn't really make you have a USP. So over time, as I said, these started off as mass product things. The concept of the USP has evolved from big brand product advertising to become the cornerstone for businesses of all sizes, including especially SMEs. And in today's market, where competition is fierce and attention spans are short, having a clear USP can help small businesses carve out their niche, connect with their audience, and compete on a national or even an international scale. For small businesses, a well-defined USP is your best friend. It's not just a marketing tool, it sums up the essence of your brand's identity. Your USP helps you stand out, tell your story, and communicate the unique value that you bring to your customers. It's what makes your business memorable and compelling in a crowded marketplace. And it makes things easy for your customer because you give them a simple reason to choose you. USPs and personal branding. So for people who work on their own, personal branding is very important. The overlap between USPs and personal branding is quite significant, especially in today's market where personal connections and authenticity play a crucial role in business success. The USP defines what sets a product or service or a business apart from their competitors, while personal branding does exactly the same thing, but for individuals. When personal branding is applied to a business, especially in sectors like consultancy or freelance or entrepreneurship, the individual's unique traits, experience, and expertise become integral to the business's USP as well. So, crafting a USP for your business. It's very difficult. I've said it quite difficult or hard. It's very, very difficult indeed, actually, to get right. It isn't about finding what's good about your business, because there's loads of things, but it's about finding what's unique. It's that unique benefit or feature that solves your customers' problems in a way that nobody else can or does. So whether it's exceptional customer service or groundbreaking products or unparalleled shopping experience, your USP needs to reflect the core of what makes your business unique. So, for example, you could even be something like you charge more than your competitors, but you can use that as a USP if you can explain why your service justifies a higher price. So as an example, Stella Artois used to run a campaign called Reassuringly Expensive, which is exactly what they did. Another great example of a USP is FedEx. When it absolutely positively has to be there overnight, was the slogan that actually became FedEx's USP. It instilled trust in their reliability whilst casting a shadow of doubt over everybody else. And the message was clear: choosing anyone but FedEx for your deliveries was a risk. Sorry for the small type on this slide, but here's a 20 possible ways that you can work out your USP. I'm not going to read them all out. Each of these differentiators is a point of difference that can help an SME to carve out a niche, to resonate with their audience and stand out. The key is to choose a USP that not only differentiates your business, but also aligns closely with your brand values and your customers' needs. But do bear in mind that having a unique feature, so for example, you source local products, is only an effective USP for your business if your customers place value on it. And I get this all the time: well, what happens if there's nothing unique about my business? Well, there is a way you can sort of cobble one together, and that's by doing competitor analysis, which is actually, we touched on this earlier. Conducting a competitor analysis is a way to understand the competitive landscape of your industry. So this can help you pinpoint your USP by providing clarity on what unique value to offer and promote to your customers. And the simplified 3-step process of this involves: 1, understand the things that your customers value. And that means determining both the obvious and the subtle factors that customers consider when they choose products or services in your sector. Then you rank yourself and your competitors using those factors. So just as an example, if your customers like value for money, flawless delivery and range of services, then you can say, right, well, we're very good at one, but not so good at the other. And then you score all your competitors as well. And then you basically work out what you're really good at compared to your competitors, and you can cobble together a USP from that. Based on the areas that you excel, you can create your USP to highlight these strengths to your market. Now, having a USP is one thing, but you have to know that it resonates with your audience. And in Rossa Reeves's day, his agency undertook what they called penetration testing for all their ads to discover whether the audience remembered the brand and the key message for each campaign. And this process cost them multi-millions of dollars to do. Thankfully, testing your USP's effectiveness does not require that kind of budget. So from gathering customer feedback to monitoring social media engagement or running A/B tests, which I have mentioned before, there are plenty of cost-effective strategies to make sure that your USP is hitting the mark. So tools like Google Analytics or social media analytics can offer valuable data on how your audience responds to your USP. And there is also no substitute for asking people directly for feedback, reviews, testimonials. Ask them if they understood what your business does that's different and whether the customer valued that point of difference. So by keeping an eye on your engagement rates, conversion metrics, all the boring marketing stuff I said I wasn't going to talk about, you can refine your USP and make sure that it remains compelling and relevant. So to sum up, your USP, or unique selling proposition, isn't just a piece of marketing jargon. It is the heartbeat of your business, and it's what gives you your competitive edge. By crafting, communicating, and then continually testing and revisiting your USP, you can ensure your business not only stands out, but thrives. So take what we've discussed today, apply it to your business, and watch as your business blooms to become the go-to choice for your customers. Thank you for listening.
A wonderful, wonderful session, Keith. Thank you very much. They're always inspiring, and I'm making lots of notes here, trying to think, crikey, I need to home in on my specific USPs here and capitalise on that. Well, one question though, while we're talking USPs, what's your USP then, Keith?
Well, I thought you might ask me that. So, as you know, apart from the visitors here, as you know, this marketing element to my business only really started in January, after a 4-year gap. And as part of that, I have done a big business development process with a consultant. And so my USP isn't actually finished yet. So that's basically what I'm saying. But what I did do was I have got a value proposition first, one of the ways that you can do this is to build a value proposition for your business first, which basically talks about why you do what you do, and it talks about the emotional triggers that make people buy from you. So in my business, a bit like Lee's, my business is all about getting my customers to have less stress in their lives, because they don't understand modern marketing. They don't have the time to do it either. So all the sort of emotional points to do with buying from me, from a marketing point of view, is to do with relieving stress and getting people results and knowing that they don't have to worry about that. So the value proposition comes from that, and then I will be able to make my USP from my value proposition. So ask me in about a month and I'll probably be able to give you, I've got 4 on the go at the moment and I'm trying to whittle them down, but yeah.
Okay, we'll put that one down for an in focus. We'll home in on that one, I think. Okay, yeah, I think that'd be a good strategy to follow. We've got time for another question or two, if anybody has one.
Yeah, I've got a question on the USP. Just making up an example. You have a product, and you said that it has some amazing feature that if you buy this because you will get this wonderful benefit, and that benefit is a red button. And by pressing the red button, you get some whizzy reaction. Doesn't matter what it is. And you're running on that as your USP because nobody else has a red button that gives you a whizzy reaction. That's it. Then the company next door goes, well, we've got a red button now that's got a whizzy reaction. You've lost it. You've got to reinvent that and go again. Is there not a danger having something as a feature being a USP?
There is in the book. I have the book here. This is the book, and it does talk about that actually.
Oh, excellent.
And basically, he says that it's a thing called like first mover advantage, I think it's called, where if you claim a USP in a particular market, and then somebody else comes along and says, "Oh, we do that too," then really what they're actually doing is advertising you, because they're comparing themselves to your business. So in a way, it doesn't really matter. There is always, like, product development. Somebody will invent a new toothpaste that does X. Within a year, everybody does X. So you do have to have this constant change of what your new big benefit is. But being first in the market with a USP is a big advantage. So I wouldn't worry too much about if that's what you want. So say somebody set up a business in your area doing exactly the same as what you do, you're still the first people to do it. And every time somebody comes along and says, "Oh, we do what they do, but better," or whatever it is, they're still advertising your business.
True.
Can I just add something, just touch on something that Keith has discussed in his presentation, that coming back to that competitor analysis just is also very important not to do as a one-off exercise at the beginning. It's something that you should do on a regular basis. And if you do that on a regular basis, then that helps you to stay ahead as well and kind of spot those things happening and jump on top of that. And, a business needs to be agile. Unfortunately, in 2024, we have to be agile. So if things like that happen, there's also, I would see there's an opportunity actually to then be more innovative and come up with a new feature or whatever, what you decide that to be.
Yeah, that is
maybe
important.
you'll come up with a blue button that is so much more shinier than the red one. But they go, oh, bloody hell, they just come up with a blue button and we're just repeating the red one. That kind of mindset.
the competitor research thing is really important. And as small businesses, we are a lot more agile than big ones. So that gives us an advantage because we can react. We can put things into place very quickly. I've set this whole side of my business up in about, what are we now, 5 weeks. And if I'd have done it 10 years ago, it probably might have taken me 3 months. But because I know the people to sort of help me, and I've got the network and all that sort of stuff as well, it's really, it's been quite quick. One of the things I did with customer research was I got somebody else to help me with that. And they pinpointed the fact that nobody else that they could find that does what I do publishes any prices. So an obvious point of difference for me is I will be transparent about my prices. So, that's if you didn't do that research, I wouldn't have known that. So there we are.
Just quickly before we go on, it's funny, it just reminded me when you said about the unique selling proposition and how other people benefit from your advertising. Years ago, when I first started in leasing, I worked for a company called Swan National a long time ago, back in the 70s, well, late 70s. And at the time, Avis were the largest car rental company and leasing company in the UK by location. And Swan National, who I worked for, made a point of opening all their rental locations right next to or very close to an Avis location, because Avis spent millions of pounds advertising their car rental service. So they opened close to, or in a lot of cases, virtually next door to. And I ended up running I ran the sort of Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Essex area. But the point was they spent a load of money. They got the two Ronnies to do a load of adverts for them, advertising their rental service and having the most locations. People were going to those locations. Now the problem, they had lots of locations with not many vehicles. So invariably they would go to an Avis, not even if they pre-booked something, they would have double booked. They wouldn't have got a vehicle. So they went next door to one of the locations I worked at, and the business went, I mean, the amount of business we got with no advertising, and it put Swan National on into a different league, to the point where they became the largest car rental and leasing company in the UK over the space of 5 years, because of the money Avis spent in the UK promoting their business, which was a great knock on. I thought that was amazing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Great. So have you got your hand up? Squeeze one last question in, and then we'll need to move along.
Okay, yeah, it was just to comment on the, you know, the ability to morph and change. And it's one thing that, you know, large companies just lose the plot. Something that I'm very, you know, aware of and passionate about is the fact that, you know, we are lean and nimble, and that's the exact words that I use, lean and nimble. We can respond quickly to any changes in, you know, in what's going on around us in the country. So yeah, you know, Keith hit the nail on the head with that. You've got to be lean and nimble in these days.